So I always thought I had to host like these really big retreats overseas to have transformation. And I realized that's delightful and delicious and amazing. And I will continue to do that. And I also wanted to start hosting in person immersive experiences in my hometown, which I am now doing. So if you are a person that's like, I'm really craving connection to myself, I'm really craving more creativity to open up within myself, I'm really craving stepping the fuck away from my phone for just a few hours and getting into my body and just like going a little bit deeper. These are essentially like a mini yoga retreat. Like if you ever taken a yoga class and you're like, I wish this was longer and we were going to do something after this. What are we doing after this? That's what this is. So come join my first one. It's on May 16th and sign up for the newsletter to see when the next one comes. You're listening to Marta on the Move, hosted by Marta Napoleon Mazzoni. What keeps us moving, what keeps us connected, and how we travel as humans through this journey of life. Welcome. Welcome back to Marta on the Move. I have recently returned back from a trip from Paris and London with my mom. It was our first ever trip overseas together. Like first ever. And you guys all know, like if you're traveling with parents or someone you haven't traveled with, like it can often feel big. It can feel intimidating. It can feel like itchy. Like you can have all the feelings, and we had all of the feelings. We had every emotion possible, and it was so magical. It was so wonderful. It was such a gift to be able to have that moment, that time. I know it's anybody that talked about manifestation. Like anybody. Like I was like, okay, whatever. Like this is way too woo. This is way too this. This is way too that. And it's really not. I think the biggest reason why I turned my nose at it is because I didn't understand it. And that's a very human thing to do, right? Like when we don't understand something, we're like, oh, whatever. I dismiss that immediately because we don't understand it. And that was the case for me with manifestation. And now I have a very practical and spiritual view on manifestation, because to me, manifestation is some very clear steps, like super clear steps for me. And these are those steps. So if you're listening to this, like these are the steps to manifestation for me. It's number one, getting clear on what you want. That's like sometimes the hardest one, right? Like, what do I actually want? What is the burning desire that I have that I want to put out into the world? What is the dream that I want to put out into the world? What is a need? Even you can even start with like a need, and that's usually where people begin. If you don't know what you want, start with a need and start small and start with contrast. I think I recorded an episode about this, like how to kind of get in touch with your needs and your wants more clearly, because for me that was a very hard thing after my sister died. I was like, who the fuck am I? I don't know. Do I want this or this for dinner? I don't know. Like it was very granular. It got very, very granular, and it got very, very specific. It had to, and the choices needed to be limited. So if you are in that space, if you're like need and want, and I don't know what that is, you are not alone. Start small. So you can either start small or you can start more vague, more intangibly. So you can start with, I want to feel more joy in my life. I want to feel more peace in my life. I want to feel more calm in my life. I want to feel more connected in my life. And then once you figure those out, right? Like you write them down, you sit with them, you actually sit and contemplate, bust out your journals. bust out your journals, talk to your coaches. Like, this is a time right now is a really, really great time to have a outside perspective just be a mirror for you. That's what I do for individuals that's just too close. Like, shit's just too close sometimes, and you need to zoom out. And it's like you need someone that is way out here helping you ask the questions that you need to ask to get more in touch with who you are and what you want. So write it down, journal, use your tools, whatever your tools are, to get in touch with what you want. That is step one. Know what you want. And then step two, you put it out into the universe. You actually announce it. You say, God, universe, Mother Nature, hey, you, this is what I want. I'm getting clear. I'm clarity. This is what I want. I want this. Being very, very clear on what you want, putting it out into the universe. I want more of this in my life. I want more of this in my life. I want more of this in my life. Boom. So you involve the universe because the universe is going to give back to you what you are clear on, like very, very clear on. And so you put that out into the universe. That is step two. That is like the faith portion, right? Getting clear, putting it out into the universe. That's where the spirituality comes into this, so that you can be in relationship to the universe, because everything is a relationship. Literally every single thing in your life is a relationship. Your relationship to money, your relationship to water, your relationship to your husband, your relationship to your house, your relationship to your mother, your relationship to yourself, like your relationship to movement. It is all relationships. And so your relationship to the universe needs tending as well, right? Like a great relationship is a give and take. A great relationship is a give and take. It is like if you were married and one person was just doing everything and you weren't getting anything back from the other person, like that is not a great relationship. That's not a sustainable relationship. That's going to cause a lot of friction. And same way on the other side. If it was the roles were reversed, it's the same way with the universe. Like, you work together. And this bleeds into the next step, which is you actually have to take the action for manifestation. You have to do the thing. I talked about this in the last episode, but you have to put it out into the world. You got to get clear on what you want. You put it out into the world, and then you make the moves that you need to make in order for those things to happen. And I think this is where the disconnect came in for me, because I don't hear a lot of people talking about the responsibility that it takes for the human to actually manifest your dreams. That's the practical side. And that's real. You have to take action. It is a relationship. You have to do your part. You have to book. So, okay, case in point. I just got back from Paris. And as I mentioned, and I taught my first yoga class there. This is something I never thought would happen. I've hosted over 8 retreats overseas, and I taught yoga in all different kinds of countries, but this felt different. This was way different. This was in a studio in Paris. Like, that just didn't feel... I didn't even know that dream existed. I didn't know it existed. There wasn't evidence of that yet. But I had a friend in Paris who was a past client, and she was like, oh, I wish you were teaching class. I miss your classes. I miss Core Fire. Like, I love the way it made me feel, and I wish you were teaching here. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Me too. Wouldn't that be nice? And then I paused for a second. And I said, why the fuck not, Marta? Why not? Why can't you? And is this something you actually want to do? Step one. Do you want this? That answer was clear. Fuck yes. That sounds amazing. I would love to teach core fire in Paris. That would be incredible. Like, sign me up. Okay, step one, put out into the universe. Hey, God, this is what I want. Getting very clear on this. And we do a lot of this with my embodied expression method. What I did was I didn't just put it out into the universe. I actually felt the feeling of what it felt like to be the person that teaches that class. This is where the body gets involved. In that step with putting it out into the world, you have to include the body. It's not enough just to put out the thought. This is where you make it real. You pull the feeling towards you of what it felt like to teach that class. And this is what I did. I moved through it with the embodied expression method. Like, I felt that feeling of what the day was going to feel like, of waking up in the morning, of taking a walk, of grabbing a coffee, of saying hello to somebody in Paris, of trying to speak French and failing miserably, of walking into the studio, of teaching the class, of who was going to show up there, of the feeling that I felt when I arrived. I did that beforehand. That was a part of this whole process. It's the special sauce that you sprinkle on top of all of these steps, is the feeling of how you're going to feel when you have the thing. And those feelings are very, those are like those intangible feelings, right? Like, that's why those feelings are really potent to work with. It was calm, joy, alive, vibrant. I stood there. I imagined myself teaching the class. I pulled that feeling into me and I made it real. And then I took the actions. But if I didn't do step 2, here's where this would have fallen flat. I would have shown up to the class and I would have been a wreck. I would have been nervous. I would have been disassociative. I would have not been fully present for any of it. What bringing it into the body and what pulling that feeling into you does is it expands your capacity to hold the dream that is coming to you. And it actually collapses time and brings it to you quicker. Because when you are there, you are fully receiving it. Like, you are fully in it. So, and if you're like, I don't understand what this means, Marta, what do you mean? I want you to imagine a time where you had something like a big event. Maybe it was a trip. It could be a travel trip. It could be a show production. It could be like performing on stage. It could be any of the things. It could be giving a speech. It could be your daughter's graduation. It could be anything like that, that you built up in your mind and you achieved, right? Like, you achieved the dream, but then the day came. And when it came, you weren't fully present for it. You couldn't fully appreciate it. You couldn't fully be in the moment of it. You were just chaotic. You were doing 800 other things. You were distracted. You were already thinking of the next thing. You were already thinking of when you were going to lose the thing. That happens a lot, right? Like, you're already like, I'm already out of the moment. I talked about this a lot on a retreat that I held last year in Sicily. And a big part of the work for the people that I spoke to them was being able to receive this trip. It was 2 days before we were about to go home, and I could see everybody was kind of checking out already. They were already preparing themselves to go home. They were taking themselves out of the moment. And I was like, no, we are not done. We're not done. You are here. Receive it. Be in it. Be present for it. That is the work of expanding your nervous system, your capacity to allow yourself to feel those emotions, to be ready. So all of this to say, like, this experience was so wonderful. And it wasn't just for teaching this yoga class. Going on this trip with my mom was a dream that I didn't know would ever happen. And it's the same thing with this. I was able to be present as much as I possibly can, right? Like you have your times where you're like, okay, I just need a minute, but as much as I possibly can for success for me, for success for us. I was present. I was aware. I was in the moment, feeling the feels, grateful for it, like fully feeling it. And that is like the greatest gift that we can give ourselves. So if you are working with manifestation, if you are like, yep, okay, that's really fun, try out these steps. So to review, steps. Number 1, getting really clear on what you want. And if you can't get clear, remember, intangible feelings of what you want. Number 2, putting it out into the universe. Being clear with the universe of what you want, actually putting it out there. You could say it out loud. That's how you could do it. You could say it out loud. You can write it. You can tell a friend. You can talk about it. Like, just start talking about it. Be like it's happening. I want this. I am going to do this. I declare that I am doing this. I choose this. Being very clear. Number 3, taking action on it. And taking action on it can look like booking the trip. It can look like hiring the coach. It can look like writing in your journal. It can look like moving the needle on that dream. It can look like reaching out to the person. It can look like doing a practice like the embodied expression method, like to pull those feelings of how you will feel when it happens into your body, because that is a huge part of it. Like embodying that feeling that you need to pull it into your entire being. Let me know how this landed for you. Let me know how your dreams are coming. I would love, 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 love to hear all about it. Feel free to reach out to me at Your Rare Magic on Instagram. Join the collective, the free collective, and let me know how you're doing out there. See you.